Greetings, beloved light warriors. It's Saratoga, and this is your weekly focus card reading for the week beginning January 25th through January 31st, 2021. And if you're new to my channel, this is something I do every Sunday so that we can reset our focus and our energy for the coming week ahead. And then I do my regular on-camera videos on Tuesdays and Fridays. Okay, so let us get into this coming week. So as you can see, this card says focus. This is a very simple yet powerful message. Let's talk for a moment about the terrain that is shown on this card. It's a very snowy, cold environment, which represents kind of the environment we're in right now, which actually is a very cold feeling to it. It's a very inhuman feeling. We're living in a very divisive world where a lot of people are experiencing separation, division. We're under this lockdown. We don't see each other's faces anymore. And there's a feeling of inhumaneness or inhumanity to our entire global environment right now. So that's really creating a sense of coldness. It's not like we're living in a field of warmth and love and beauty at this point in time. We're living in a very cold world. And as a result of that, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of confusion. So it's very easy to lose your focus, to lose your sense of clarity, to lose a feeling of where do I turn, where do I go? So I think the leopard is a beautiful symbol reminding us that we need to restore our power, our confidence, restore a sense of fearlessness. And a leopard is a very psychic animal. So it's like we need to tune into our intuition, into our inner wisdom so that we really know where we're going in this very confusing environment. Now, I also want to talk about the mountain in the distance. This is really, really interesting because you would think that the leopard might be focused on the mountaintop, but let's talk about what's at the top of that mountain. It looks like there's gold on the top of that mountain, right? But I suspect that that gold is an illusion or a mirage. It might just be a funny trick of the light, so it's not actually real gold. But yet so it represents false promises. The false promise of believing that if you go through hardship, if you go through suffering, if you go through pain, that eventually you will get to that gold. If you climb that difficult, rough terrain, you'll get to the gold. And that's kind of what we're told a lot in life, right? We're told, well, it's okay that it's hard. It's okay that that you're suffering. It's okay that you're locked down. It's okay because this is all going to be for the best for everyone. So we're living with a lot of false promises right now. And because there's so much confusion and distraction, and let me also point out confusion and distraction, look at all the little snowflakes falling. They're all cold, right? So those snowflakes could represent a lot of confusing facts that are always falling upon us. A lot of confusing facts that are not facts of warmth and love and humanity. They're facts that are divisive, that are confusing, that are conflicting. So this leopard is very wise. This leopard is very intuitive. This leopard is relying on his or her intuition to say, I'm focused. You see how the animal is focused upwards, looking up at something else? It is not being distracted by the false promises and false hopes of that fake gold on top of that mountain. Okay. Now, I want to add something to this, because what would cause a person to be distracted by those false promises, false beliefs, and false hopes? Fear, right? There's a lot of fear in the world right now. There's a lot of anxiety. And the problem with fear is that it what is the word? It causes disintegration. It causes fragmentation. It causes confusion and reactivity. It causes you to go very unconscious. It can create panic, it can create desperation, it can create a sense of, and I see this happening a lot, a sense of people saying, just tell me what's going to happen, what's going to happen, I need to know what's going to happen. And actually I've noticed that collectively, I think a lot of people are becoming much more oriented to needing positive predictions. Please, please give me a positive prediction so I can feel better. Please give me a positive prediction so I can relieve my anxiety. That, my dearest friends, is an example of losing focus. Okay, because that kind of need is coming from fear. Fear is a very unconscious state. Fear is a state that says to the person experiencing it, hey, you can't think about anything else until you solve this fear problem. You have to get rid of the fear before you can do anything else. So that's what makes us very reactive. So if that false gold at the top of that mountain looks enticing, if someone says, oh, this is all going to be awesome, this is all going to be fabulous, don't worry, everything's fine, I don't see how you can know that for sure. And what does that even mean? What does everything's fine actually mean? See, we don't even know what that means. But if you fall for that and you say, okay, we're going through this rough terrain, but it's okay because we're going to hit that goal at the top of that mountain, and in the end, it's all going to be fine. First of all, you're no longer present in the now. You're hoping and believing something that you really don't know for sure if it's real. And you can lose your focus on where you really need to be focusing. So this animal in this picture is not falling for the false hope, the fake gold, and the false promises. This animal is looking up into the sky, is looking at a higher place. Obviously very connected to something else, very connected with a feeling of certainty. So, in other words, you look at this leopard, there doesn't appear to be any confusion in this animal. There appears to be, I haven't lost my focus. I am in no way distracted by this false gold at the top of this mountain. I'm not even looking at the mountain. I'm not interested in it. I'm interested in a clear path ahead, a clear road ahead of truth. And if we look beyond the mountain, we see an opening, don't we? We see pink, beautiful clouds, pink representing love, an opening, a gateway, a doorway into the universe. So this leopard is looking, we can't really see where the leopard's looking, right? And that's interesting too, because where we need to focus, where we need to go, has not yet manifested on this planet. But it is manifesting elsewhere, you guys. It is absolutely manifesting elsewhere. So we don't want to be necessarily looking at what is happening on Earth to find our answers, to find our solutions. This is not where we want to be looking. We want to expand our consciousness, expand our awareness so that we see past all of the stuff going on Earth. We see past it by following the gateway of our hearts and a deeper knowing of a beautiful paradise. And that's not an exaggeration. Okay, what we need to go back to is paradise. That's where we need to go. We don't need to climb this horrible mountain of pain and suffering and coldness and rough terrain and difficulty and multiple lifetimes of agony and who knows what, right? Because we're still on the same planet. We're still in the same situation. That gold sitting on the top of that mountain is still on the same planet. And I very strongly suspect if you were to go to the top of that mountain, you're going to find that gold was just a mirage. Okay? So it's okay to look past Earth. It's okay to look past what is happening here because you are a galactic being. I say this all the time. You are interdimensional. You are multidimensional. That is who you really are. You know things that you're not even consciously aware that you know. Okay, because we're so mentally programmed, our DNA is so locked down in this crazy reality that we call our world. We're so locked down with programming into this world, into what some call the matrix, right? We don't even realize what we actually know. So this leopard, this image of this leopard standing on this very cold terrain, is unaffected by it and is very clear where it's going. This leopard is clear where it's evolving to, is that paradise. Paradise does not include hardship. It does not include suffering. It does not include pain, misery, fear, anxiety, or confusion. And so that is what we know. And that is where we want to focus our attention. Now, I'm going to suggest one final thing before I complete this, because I know the question that always comes up is how? How do we get there? You know, one of the beings that I channel in Telstar, actually, I've heard this from more than one. Archangel Michael said this to me as well. He said, how is the question of death? Now, what did they mean by that? What they meant is that when you have a condition called how, when you say, well, I can't intend that, I can't manifest that, I can't focus that because I don't know how, what happens is your vision dies. Your intention is immediately killed. It kills the intention, it kills your vision, it kills your belief in yourself. Because if you have a condition that says, I have to know how or it's not possible, what you need to understand is the only way to answer that question from where you are right now is to look back in your past for information that's going to tell you how to get to a place you've never been. And there is no information in your past that's going to tell you how to get to a place you've never been. Okay, you can apply this to evolution, to a much higher plane of reality, and you can apply it to just what you want to manifest in your everyday life. You can apply this anywhere. You're not going to find that information in your past, okay? So if you have that requirement that I have to know how right now before I can commit, before I can intend, before I can focus, and you don't have the answer, well then it's over, right? If that's your condition, then it's over. So it's okay not to know how in this very moment, because the intention needs to be formed first. The focus on that intention needs to be formed first, and then the commitment to the outcome needs to be formed first before the how can reveal itself. Because the how is something that is revealed as a progression, as a trajectory, as a new timeline, for example, and you take those steps. And that's the other thing about this big cat. These big cats are very flexible, they're very stealthy, they're able to navigate through all kinds of terrain with their intuition. So this animal would never ask how. This animal would never look to whatever it was seeking and say, well, okay, let me think for a minute. How am I going to do that, right? Now, what do you think would happen if, well, let's say because it's a predator, right? And let's say it saw its prey and it sat down and said, well, how am I going to catch that thing? I wonder how I'm going to do that. I don't know how I'm going to do that, so I guess I just won't. See, you see what I mean, you guys? So this animal doesn't ask how ever. It's focused 100% on the intent. It's focused 100% on the result, on the goal. And then it lets its intuition guide it with grace and power and perfection to reach that goal. So that's how we want to be with our ascension process. That's how we want to be with our awakening process. And if you're not sure what the goal is or what the intention is, look to your heart, you guys. Look to your heart, because your heart knows exactly where that intention needs to be aimed for you as a beautiful, perfect individual of divine origins and an infinite creator in this cosmos. That's where your answer lies in terms of the final goal. Okay, so I hope you guys have found this helpful. bottom line, don't be distracted by false promises, false hopes, false goals. You don't need to fall prey to a need for positive predictions to make you feel better and relieve your anxiety. You don't need to fall prey to that, you guys. Not necessary. You don't need that. What you need is focused intention and clarity about where you're going from your heart, because that is what's going to align you with the laws and principles of this universe and all that is there to support you in this massive, massive ascension and awakening process that we are all engaged in right now. Okay, so I hope that's been helpful to everybody. I'm wishing you guys a beautiful week ahead. I'm sending you all so much love, and I so look forward to seeing you in the next video. Namaste.